Welcome everyone to Chillin in the Foyer. Today is part 3 of our four-part series. I don't know why I had a hard time saying that. So in the doctrine, policy, counsel, and culture, we're looking at counsel today, which is those wise recommendations we hear at conference, or we read in handbooks, or in lessons. So what is counsel? Counsel is not doctrine, nor is it a commandment, nor is it a policy. It is inspired guidance from leaders who care deeply about our well-being. For example, when I was growing up, don't date before the age of 18 or 16 rather. Now that's no longer there. And I look at it as a parent of 5 sons that sometimes they might be ready to date at 15 and some might be ready at 25, right? And so 16 may be a good average number, but there's no doctrinal reason behind it. And it's not even policy at this point. Anything where someone says avoid rated R movies, that is not a policy thing. It's not a doctrinal thing, but is it good counsel? Well, it could be. It very well could be. And I'm not going to sit here and judge anybody else. But it's up to each of us to figure that out for ourselves. But that may very well be good counsel for you. It depends, how sensitive is your spirit to different things? I know some people who, violence doesn't bother them, but swearing does. Sexual related things do, and whatever. It's kind of one of those things that you work with the Spirit to see what works for you. And maybe it's not even based on a rating. It's just a lot of things that I do with movies now is I just go into IMDb and kind of see what's there and determine whether or not it's something I want to bring into my life. Another thing is, avoid or be cautious about debt. Obviously, it's very difficult for any of us to buy a home without debt. It can also be difficult for some of the other necessities of life, like a vehicle. But we're counseled to try and remove that debt quickly and have it minimized. Let's pay that off as fast as we can. And I think that probably is good counsel because it's, just a human being myself who's had to be in debt, still is on some things. It can be a weight around your neck. So that's where I look at these things and I say, they're not requirements for salvation, but they're often based on loving wisdom. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, and this is kind of maybe a triggering one, but I think it's an important one for us. 4 years ago, when the COVID vaccination was released, President Nelson had I can't remember the exact wording, but strong encouragement or strong recommendation for us to get the shot, right? This caused a lot of division and issues within the church and people and how they felt about it. And here's why it did it, in my opinion, from what I saw. On the one hand, we're taught to follow the prophet. On the other side is many people felt like, I don't want to put something in my body that we don't have any studies or anything to show what's going to be the result of this in 1, 5, 10, 20 years, right? So there's very much this, I don't know what to do here. And I know that the science said certain things, but we have to be honest about it. It was a brand new shot. We don't know what the long-term effects are. We knew it, or we believed it worked for COVID at the time, short-term. We don't know the long-term. So I understand, and I'm not trying to get political with this. What I'm saying is I understand both sides of it because I went through that wrestle myself. Do I follow the prophet? Do I get an injection? Even if I didn't necessarily want to, what do I do there? So that is where I have a close family member who chose not to. He and his wife prayed about it for their family. They didn't feel good about it, chose not to. It does not make them any less or a sinner or anything like that. They are just as worthy, just as loved as me or anyone else who whatever. It just doesn't matter with that. I have another close friend who he and his wife chose not to as well. And they had a hard time with it. It was kind of rough because we're not following the prophet, But that's where we're invited to counsel with the Lord. Take this to him. And if it fits your life, if it fits how you feel you should live, if you're really being honest with yourself, then follow it. But if it doesn't, like I said earlier, you are not a sinner. You are a disciple of Christ, navigating life with the Spirit for yourself. Counsel is about principles. It's not about control. So I know that was a lot there on counsel, but I do think that it's important for us, most of the time it's probably going to be counsel that we agree with. But when it's not, How do we handle that? And I think that is where we do need to go counsel with the Lord as individuals. God trusts us to seek revelation from him. Counsel is a tool. It's not the hammer that makes us do things, right? We're not the nail here. So let's use it wisely, and let's never weaponize it against others. Thank you for being here. If this video has helped you, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe with anybody who you think would enjoy this content. And as always, love God, love others. Thank you for being here.